Hey, kia ora, Helen Brahms here coming to you live from Mesa in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic sparkling start to Winning Wednesday. Yes, it is that day of the week we get to celebrate. It doesn't matter if our wins are big or small, we always celebrate the wins because the wins help us keep that winning mindset that we need to help keep us moving forward towards our big goal that is at the end of of the at the end of the road there. But then there's never the end of a road because you can always make a turn off to go follow another goal. So today I want to talk about 5 steps for a winning mindset. And these are pretty cool ones. I like these ones. So one of them is you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. If you've got a goal that you want to go for, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, you have to be willing to step up, step out, and get in there and get it done. Sometimes it's a big goal, sometimes it's a small goal. It doesn't matter. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes, but be ethical about it. So I guess you've got to change the whatevers, whatever it takes, as long as it's ethical. Yes, that works. so, so are you willing to step out and go after that goal? What is that big goal that you have that you want to go after, and you're trying to figure out, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Just go for it. Say yes, commit to it, and go for it. When you commit to doing something, there's something that happens inside the grey mushy stuff inside the head here for the brain. It goes to the subconscious, starts going to work. Okay, we're doing this. We are committed. What do we need to do? And it starts planning things out for you. And all of a sudden, it's putting out the vibe there that you want to do this, which is really cool because one of them is to make sure that you feed your mind. Step number 2 is feed your mind with positive stuff. With positive and successful thoughts. So it could be, what are you reading? What are you watching on videos? There's a lot of inspirational videos out there by a lot of people. TED Talks. There's also, if you go on, if I have Amazon Prime, so I go in there and they have all of these different business topics that are available to Amazon Prime users. They have these incredible interviews with CEOs of these huge corporations and everything else. They've got a series there on Elon Musk. They've got interviews with Bill Gates. They've got interviews with interview, or is it talk about? There's stuff in there about Warren Buffett. All these big names and industries and stuff like that you can go and talk to and learn from. You learn their backgrounds. You learn how they got into the business that they got into. So they're kind of like a mini autobiography, but they're anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour long. So it's not that long of a time to watch. Then you have different inspirational stories that are in there. You've got the inspirational movies that are in there. There's also a whole business section there where they have different. They've got one at the moment which I'm going through. It's called the Business Bible, I think it's called, and it's all about these people who have started these companies and why they started them, how they got them started, and they're giving you tips and techniques along the way as well. So there's a lot of good information. So what information are you feeding your brain? What books are you reading? What books are you listening to? I love to listen to the inspirational books, especially the biographies. I love reading the biographies, the autobiographies, because it gives you an insight into that person's mind. And if it's on audio and the person who wrote the autobiography is the person reading it, you get so much more out of it than having somebody else read it. Because think about it, that person is talking it to you how they want you to hear it. It's in their voice. I remember Carol Burnett's one. She tells the story, and Carol Burnett's book is absolutely hilarious. I can't remember the name of it, but there's one there where she tells these different short stories about how, about people that she's met along the way and people she had on her Carol Burnett show and funny incidences that happened along the way. And one of them is that she was in one of the big department stores, either a Macy's, a Sears, or a J.C. Penney's. I can't remember which. And she wrote out a check for whatever it was she was paying for. Yeah, this is back in the day of checks. She wrote out a check for whatever it was that she was paying for. And they asked to see her identification. And she looked at them and says, "You don't know who I am." And she didn't have any ID on her. And she said, "Well, I'm Carol Burnett." And they said, "Well, if you're Carol Burnett, then do the Tarzan yell." And that's how they ID'd her for her check in the store there. But she said, and she does the Tarzan yell a couple of times on the book. So it's really pretty cool that you get to see that. But, look at what you're inputting, because what you're inputting into your brain is what you're putting out. If you're putting negative into your brain, you are not going to be giving out positive vibes. You are not going to have anything positive happen to you. It's like when you sow seeds in a garden. If you want a rose garden, you don't put in sunflower seeds. If you if you want a vegetable garden, you don't plant fruit trees. So think about it. What are you planting into your brain, and what's going to come out? So if you're putting the good stuff in, you'll get the good stuff out. You put in the negative stuff in, you'll get the negative stuff out. It is very simple. It is that simple. So that's number 2. So number 1 is be willing to do whatever it takes. And number 1 with being willing whatever it takes, never quit and never make excuses. Number 2 is feed your mind with positive and successful thoughts. If you feed negative, you won't get positive. Number 3, focus on winning, not winners. So successful people focus on themselves and their goals in life. It might sound a little self-serving, but it's the only way they can get there. Because if you're putting your focus on other people and they're winning, you're sitting on the sidelines. You're not participating in your own game. So focus on your game and your finish line, not somebody else's. Put the work in and win it all at any ethical cost. That word again, ethical. Because when you're watching somebody else's game, and when you're watching a winner, you're not focusing on your goals. Yes, you can use their stories for inspiration and to find that spark and anything else, but it's part of that feeding the brain thing. But your main concentration is on your finish line, your game, your finish line. And it could be that you have an end goal of opening a charity or starting a nonprofit organization, which is good because it's out there, it's serving the community. That's awesome. Go for it. But, feed your mind with stuff with other people who have started organizations and things. So you're getting into that mindset of you're helping feed your brain with that positivity stuff from other people who have started organizations and things, and learning from them so that you can apply it to your thing. But your main focus is on your goals and your finish line, not somebody else's. When you're on somebody else's, you're sitting on the sideline and you're not actively participating in your goals. Number 4, have patience. Oh my gosh, this is huge. This is huge. Nobody builds a business successfully overnight. There is no such thing as an overnight success. When what you're seeing at the top, if you think of an iceberg, I always love this analogy that with the iceberg, what you're seeing is the 5% on top. You're not seeing the 95% that's underneath the water. Because the iceberg is just not that piece that's floating on top. There's a whole nother world going on underneath the water. You don't see all the work in that. All you see is that 5% at the end of it, which is they're winning, they're achieving their goals, and it seems like an overnight win. You haven't seen the months or years that they have worked to get them to being able to show that 5% at the top of the iceberg. So always remember that it's patience. Success comes to those who are patient. And if you think of how long it takes to build, did you know that Rolls Royces are built by hand? It can take 6 months to build a Rolls Royce. So if you want a Rolls Royce business, you have to be patient. Other car manufacturers can turn out cars in, they have so many that come off the line a day that may take a day or two to get it there. So if you look at, you've got your mass-produced cars that are coming out within, 10 to 15 hours to do a mass-produced car, but a Rolls Royce takes 6 months. Do you want a mass-produced business, or do you want a Rolls Royce business? Think about that. If you want a Rolls Royce, you have to be very patient. Remember back in New Zealand, there was a company, I don't know if it's still in existence today because I haven't looked it up for a while, but they specialized in restoring, what were the cars? There was a specific model and year of this car that they specialized in restoring and putting in modern things like air conditioning, surround sound, that sort of thing, but still keeping it in its vintage. And they had a 4-year waiting list, and they never gave you a finish time on your project because they brought in master craftsmen for each specific area of that car. You had the upholsterer, you had the mechanics in there, you had the detail finishers. the paint jobs, everything else, and they were not given a timeline. They were the best at their craft. They were given whatever time they needed to do that job to perfection. So if you're thinking about, oh, I want my car detailed and all of that, and I want it upgraded, I want it restored, I want this, that, and the other thing added into it to make it look like it was part of the original car, and all that sort of stuff, it ain't going to happen overnight. They say that it would take them about 6 to 12 months to restore one vehicle because they gave their experts the time that they needed to do their jobs to perfection. And they had a 4-year waiting list. And these were from people overseas sending their cars to this company in New Zealand to do these restorations, and then they were shipping the cars back to them. So these people were spending a great deal of money on their cars, and they had to learn to be patient to be able to get the car that they wanted because of the job that was being done on it, plus all the shipping time as well. So you have to be patient. Success doesn't happen overnight, and you got to think, do I want a mass-produced business or do I want a Rolls-Royce business? If you want a Rolls-Royce business, you have to be prepared to be patient and take your time. Yes, you can start the business off rough and ready. I started my genealogy business off with a Google form. I didn't have a company name. I didn't have a website. I didn't even have a logo. I didn't have a tagline. Nothing, not even a business plan. I just came up with a couple of products, stuck them on a form. I was challenged to do it, stuck it on a form, and put that form out there. And now I'm taking the time to perfect it. So I started it as a mass produced, but now I'm taking the time to perfect it and make it a Rolls Royce business. So sometimes you've got to, sometimes you're getting ready to get ready and you will never do anything. Other times you've got to, and when you start getting ready to get ready, yes, that takes a lot of time and a lot of patience and everything else, but you will never get there. You do have to start dirty. And then you perfect the process as you go along. And you've got to be patient because clients aren't going to come flooding in the door at that immediately, but they are going to come. And as you're perfecting the processes over time, using that patience, trying new things, seeing what works, what doesn't, and don't give it like a day. You got to give it time to work. And then you can say, okay, well, we need to make some tweaks. Let's make some tweaks and changes here and see what happens. So it's constantly testing, trying new things, making tweaks, trying new things, making tweaks. Try it again, make some tweaks. Try it again, make some tweaks until you perfect it. It takes time to perfect. But as long as you've got it running and you can go in there and you can make the adjustments and the tweaks because you're constantly testing. If you're getting ready to get ready and you're sitting there and you're making all these processes and you're going through, yes, that'll work. And then you're finally ready to launch this thing and now you've missed your window of opportunity. So start the business today. However you want to say, even if it's with a Google form and 2 products or 2 services, it's a Google form, just get it out there. Worry about the business name later, worry about the logo later, worry about the website later. I started mine in May of last year. The website was up and running about a week or 2 after I launched the business with a Google form. My logo did not create that till about a month or 2 ago. Some things take time. Everything takes time. You got to be patient. And then the last step is believe in your dreams. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. If you doubt yourself, you're never going to get started. If you get started and you fail, you don't actually fail. You successfully discover ways that don't work. So you make those tweaks, you make those changes, and you take the next step. So when you think about it, if you're doubting yourself, you're never going to get started. This is why doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Because if you are doubting yourself, you will never get started, or you'll get started and you'll just let it slip away because you really don't want to do anything with it because you're now doubting your skills. If you have the skills, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in those skills. I get it. It's a tough job to do. I struggle with this all the time, doubting my skills. I sometimes get off these lives and go, did I give them anything worthwhile? Oh, and I start doubting myself, and then I'll get a private message from somebody going, hey, thank you so much for today's video. That was awesome. I got a lot out of it. And I'm sort of like, oh, so I do know what I'm talking about at times. Awesome. Yes. And sometimes I feel like I'm doing these lives and I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I get off and I go, that felt okay. Yeah. So there's constantly forces out there that are trying to make you doubt yourself. So don't let those forces win. Yes, it's a struggle. You got to keep going. You got to keep persevering, because the more you persevere and the longer you keep going, the more you're going to stretch, the more you're going to grow, the more confidence you're going to gain along the way. So that's it for today. So our five steps for winning is: be willing to do whatever it takes in an ethical way. Feed your mind with positive and successful thoughts. Focus on winning, not winners. Have patience and believe in your dreams. That's it for me for today, for this morning. Have a super fantastic sparkling day, and we will catch you later today. And don't forget to celebrate your wins, no matter how big or small they are. All victories need to be celebrated. He konera.